What if I told you that the biggest threat to Konoha right now, it isn't the Ten Tails, it isn't Code, it isn't even Kawaki. It is actually Konoha itself. In Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, we finally see Boruto make a choice that could mean the difference between peace and a full-blown civil war inside the village wall. And most terrifying of all, Boruto's not wrong when he said that that was something he worried about in chapter 15 of the story. The seeds of that conflict, they could already be planted here. A pro-Boruto versus pro-Kawaki faction. And if the truth comes out too soon, it could tear Konoha apart from the inside. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video where I'm going to tell you why Boruto's Civil War warning is more real than you think. And I'm not going as far as to say I think there will be a literal civil war that takes place. I don't feel confident enough to say that based on where we are in the story, but Boruto's concerns, there's enough there that has been planted in the story that Boruto didn't jump the gun when he said that was something he was worried about. So let's rewind for a little bit. So in chapter 15 of 2 Blue Vortex, Kawaki confronts Boruto. He asks him, hey man, why didn't you just tell the world the truth when you were being interrogated? That Naruto's still alive, that I sealed him away, that you're really Naruto's real child. Why didn't you say anything? That's basically Kawaki saying in so many words, hey, if that was me, I totally would have snitched. Well, Boruto's answer is pretty simple, and it's also a chilling one. Exposing Kawaki, it would cause unnecessary trouble. And that's not just paranoia either. It's not something that Kashin Koji saw in the multiple multiverses that he saw using 10 directions, but instead it's something that directly builds on what Sasuke told Boruto way back in chapter 69 of the original Boruto Naruto Next Generation story. So Sasuke warned that if people of Konoha had found out that Kawaki killed Boruto, it could lead to a destabilization of the village because it would lead to a lot of people viewing Kawaki in a negative light because Boruto is a hero that helped save the village twice via Momoshiki as well as via Ishiki. A lot of people in the village, we know this based on passing lines in the anime as well as the original lines in Boruto the movie, as well as some of the stuff in the various light novels. A lot of people view Boruto as being either a second coming of Minato or somebody that is a generational talent the way that Sasuke was. There are high hopes for him. That's why Sasuke said that it should have been he as Boruto's sensei who took Boruto's life so that he could shoulder the blame without creating a political firestorm, because as a reminder, Sasuke is still on probation in the Boruto era. There are still people who have not forgiven him for the things that he's done in the past. It's one of those things where Sasuke, if you had to have a fall guy, unfortunately, it would be Sasuke. When you fast forward to now and Boruto, he's being shown taking that same lesson to heart, but it's on a much bigger scale when you look at it. This isn't just about his own life anymore. It's about preventing an internal collapse of Konoha's unity. That's why Boruto says when he talks to Kawaki and he's looking out at the village, Konoha looks alive and well. That's why he stresses that. It's because Boruto in so many ways is the new generation's Shadow Hokage. Boruto's decision here is more than just about damage control. It's a evolution of the Shadow Hokage concept. Naruto's Shadow Hokage, Sasuke Uchiha, he operated from outside to protect the village from unseen threats. But Boruto's now doing something even riskier. He's protecting the village from itself. In a way, this makes Boruto very similar to Itachi Uchiha. Itachi's infamous and very controversial decision to wipe out the Uchiha clan, it wasn't because he wanted to do that. Itachi didn't wake up one day and said, I really did not like whoever put the raisins in the potato salad, so I'm just going to go through and play hide the katana at the next Uchiha clan family reunion. That ain't what happened. It was because he believed it was the only way to prevent a bloody civil war that could destroy the village itself. Or if the village survived the civil war, it would leave it open to being invaded by, say, a village like the Cloud Village. Like Itachi, Boruto is willing to be misunderstood, hated, and even hunted if it means preventing a greater catastrophe of shinobi fighting inside of Konoha's walls. Granted, during this timeline, there's no worry about invasion from another village, but Konoha being one of the key nations that push for this alliance and this time of peace that we have right now, being the strongest ninja village, if fighting amongst itself, could set the stage for destabilizing everything that Naruto fought for in the 4th Ninja War and everything that Kakashi did to help cement this peace treaty that we're now living under. So what's the difference here? Itachi's choice, it was made in secrecy and it ended in tragedy. Boruto's choice is being made in plain sight. A constant balancing act of proving his own worth while letting the lies stand for the sake of peace. That's why Boruto shows up, saves the village, and someone like Konohamaru says, "What do you think you're doing, fam? You didn't change anything. I still basically hate you." That's what he said when they were fighting against Hidari. Well, we have a new flashpoint moment now. In chapter 24 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, we see something dangerous happen. Sumire and Amato, they're watching through the ninja tech in Kawaki's eyes. They witness him admit Naruto's still alive, completely exposing his lie. On paper, this should be a win, but here's the danger. Amato's lab, it is under constant watch. That means that someone else, someone with political sway, someone with ambition could have seen that moment too. Think about the current state of Konoha's leadership. Ino is openly questioning why Shikamaru trusts Boruto. The feudal lord is indirectly questioning if Shikamaru is up to the job for 8th Hokage because he allowed Boruto to escape. He's not blaming Boruto, but he's not blaming Shikamaru, but it did happen under his watch. Sai deferred to Shikamaru's judgment, but that doesn't mean that everyone else will. The feudal lord has that active manhunt for Boruto, even after Boruto saved the village twice since returning, once from Code and another time from Hidari. He's about to come in a 3rd time into the village and unseal Moegi. Boruto's doing everything except for acting like a villain, but none of that matters. Now imagine if this happens. If the Naruto's alive and Kawaki lied revelation comes out and it spreads without proof that is strong enough to make some people realize their memories were altered and have a strong enough of an anchor to do what Shikamaru and Kashin, Koji, and Sasuke and Amato have done, which is actively fight and say, I know my memories are altered, but I don't care. You've instantly got half the village thinking they've been lied to, and the other half will believe that Boruto's manipulating them, just as Boruto warned. And this gets even crazier when you look at the fact that there's a Japanese parallel in Japanese history. So you have the Minamoto clan parallel. So longtime viewers of the channel have heard me bring this up before, but there's actually a Japanese historical parallel here that makes Boruto's situation even more fascinating. During the Heian period, the Minamoto clan, it was one of Japan's most powerful warrior families, but internal politics and rivalries, it tore them apart. In one famous case, Minamoto no Yorimoto, the son of the clan leader, was pushed into exile after his father was killed and his father's forces were crushed. Swap out the father being killed for Naruto being sealed away and Boruto being in exile, you have the parallel. He lived for years as an outsider, growing stronger much like Boruto did, and building allies in secret much like Boruto. Eventually, he returned to challenge those who had displaced him, leading to a power shift that changed Japan's history. Boruto's current exile, again, it mirrors it perfectly. A rightful heir in Boruto is cast out under false pretenses. An adopted brother figure, Kawaki, becomes the favorite protector of the village, just as in that Minamoto clan story, there was an insider who betrayed the father. Then you have the political narratives, they're rewritten to justify exile. Like Yorimoto, Boruto's patience and his ability to bide his time, it could determine not only his own fate, but also the fate of the entire system that he once served. Now, this brings me to why civil war is a true threat that you should take seriously. This is why Boruto's fears make perfect sense. Omnipotence didn't just change memories. It also, by extension, rewrites loyalties. To people like Ino, their memories, they feel real. Even if Boruto tells them the truth, they remember the events differently. That means they're likely to see him as an enemy or worse, as a manipulator trying to divide the village. That leads to the inevitable. a pro-Boruto faction led by the acting Hokage Shikamaru, Sarada, Sumire, and possibly some from Boruto's generation who has seen Boruto's actions firsthand since he's returned during the time skip. You could have a pro-Kawaki faction, those who are still under Omnipotence influence, those that will be backed by the feudal lord. You might have a stand-in Hokage challenging Shikamaru's authority, believing Kawaki's version of events, believing that Boruto's a threat and that Boruto's the one who killed Naruto. That isn't a debate. That's a recipe for a political meltdown. Again, I don't think that it gets that far, but Boruto's concerns are valid. Because if these two factions clash, you're looking at sabotage happening from the inside, intelligence leaks, and maybe even Konoha shinobi turning weapons on each other. All while an external threat like, say, Code might still be out there looming. And Boruto knows the second that Konoha shows weakness from within, every enemy will pounce, even an enemy that, say, they haven't accounted for yet, that they don't even know exists. And this lines up with historical civil war triggers. If you look at real world history, civil wars, they often ignite when three conditions are met. Number one, a disputed claim to leadership. Like Boruto and Kawaki's conflicting legitimacy as Naruto's successor, saying, I am Naruto's true heir. Distrust and official narratives. That's exactly what would happen if people learn that Kawaki lied, but they don't know who to believe. Is Boruto telling the truth? Is Kawaki telling the truth? Are my memories altered? Are my memories not altered? Then you have factional loyalty that outweighs the concept of unity, that outweighs the concept of country. Just like Omnipotence has created people who have a pro-Kawaki memory and an anti-Boruto memory, once that truth comes out, you're going to see a split. You want examples? Look no further than the Roman civil wars. They often began with rival generals claiming legitimacy over the same territory. Not unlike Boruto and Kawaki, who, if it came to that, it would be over who is Naruto's true son because of everyone's memories. In medieval England, the Wars of the Roses, it started when competing houses both believed they had the rightful claim to the throne. In Japanese history, the Genpei War, fought between the Minamoto and Taira clans, erupted from a struggle over imperial influence, eerily similar to political struggle brewing in Konoha as an undercurrent, which it should be worth noted, Kawaki's character is being written similar to one of the people from the Taira clan. That's why I mentioned that one. Now, in terms of why this is going to be good writing for Boruto, it's pretty big because the story's shining if you pay attention to it. Boruto has always been compared to Naruto, but Naruto's leadership was forged when Naruto was a Genin proving his weight during a time of open war, whether it be war between villages and then war against the Akatsuki, war against the Infinite Tsukiyomi, uniting villages against common enemies, uniting villages in the name of peace. While Kakashi was the one that officially got everything done, it was under the whole pretense that, hey, eventually Naruto become Hokage. We're betting on Naruto. But Boruto's leadership is right now being forged in political chess. His dream is to become a Shadow Hokage, the unseen protector who takes on the darkness so that the Hokage can shine. It's happening right now. It's a perfect training ground for that role for Boruto. He's learning restraint, knowing when not to reveal the truth. Think about it for a second. 12-year-old Boruto would have been screaming from the rooftops that Kawaki was lying. 15-year-old Boruto is wiser beyond his years. He's also shouldering the blame to keep the village stable, just as Sasuke once did and just as Itachi once did. He's strategizing for the long game instead of chasing instant victory. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And it's exactly what a Shadow Hokage needs in order to survive this post-omnipotence world, which if you're wondering why I said this is what Sasuke did the moment that he saved Boruto, that's when he shouldered blame in order to keep the village stable. There's a coming explosion potentially. Again, I don't think it gets to this point, but there is a coming explosion you could argue for. There's real tension. Boruto's not going to be able to keep this up forever. Every day that passes, more and more bits of the truth are going to start coming out. It's going to become harder to control. Even someone as dim-witted as Damon was able to see this and tell Kawaki, hey fam, you know you really done fucked up, right? And right now, with Kawaki slipping up and admitting that Naruto's alive, possibly with that whole exchange being recorded since it's on Amato's computer, and since Amato's lab is being monitored, the countdown to chaos it's just gotten even shorter. The moment that the truth does leak out to the wrong person, it could lead to a big problem. This is not a situation that Talking no Jutsu can fix. Boruto wasn't just right to be worried about avoiding conflict. He was also right about the fact that there could be a storm that could destroy the village from within if they don't handle this situation properly. That's why when Shikamaru says, I just would have beat Kawaki up and I probably would have tried to kill the guy, he's like, no, I can't force him to unseal my parents because he'll just do it again. He has to be willing to do it. Boruto is trying to land this plane very safely, and it's something that makes me really feel for Boruto's character, because as a 15-year-old child, that man's dealing with a lot. Which brings me to my question. Do you guys think that Boruto was right to worry about a civil war? And do you think that Boruto has done enough to navigate those waters away from it? Or will Kawaki's confession change things in a major way? Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. Click here on the left to check out more Naruto content, or click here on the right to check out videos from my 2 anime channels where I talk about non-Naruto content.